you what's been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Farm and Pastor's Wife. I'm so glad you're here. My name's Leslie. We are going to make a delicious and absolutely, well, I don't know that it's going to be delicious, but I can only imagine that it's going to be delicious. So I am going to get out just 2 of the largest breasts out of this package. And yeah. And I was asked the other day, I'm just going to trim off this fat here. I was asked the other day about washing your meat. They noticed I do not. I was raised to wash my meat just like all of the rest of you. And I would suggest you go over to the USDA and read their policy, not policy, but you know, their thoughts on washing your meat. And once I read that, I got to thinking about it. And because I was always raised, you rinse your meat. Well, their thoughts on it is that it spreads, it just splatters the germs in through your kitchen. And you can't see where all the spray goes. So, with that being said, I got to thinking about it. Okay, when you have nasty germs on your hands, I'm not talking dirt, I'm talking germs that you're trying to get rid of. Just running it under water does not get the germs off your hands. You have to use an antibacterial or antiseptic type soap to get rid of it. So just rinsing water over your meat does not get rid of the germs. It's the cooking process. So really, the USDA says don't wash your meat, that you're spreading germs further in your home than just cutting it up in a safe spot, washing your hands, and cooking it thoroughly. That's the best thing you can do, because you're not gonna soap this up. You're not gonna soap up your meat. You don't soap up and you don't even rinse your hamburger. I don't think. And so washing your meat or rinsing your meat is not a good idea. I know it goes against everything we were taught, but it makes sense if you really think about it. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this meat into bite-sized pieces. That's all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to wash my hands, because that's the most important thing you can do about preventing germs. And I'm going to put this directly into soapy water and clean it really well. I'm going to clean my surface area, and then we will get started on the rest of the casserole. But I'm going to show you what size I'm cutting these into. Just 1 to 2 inch pieces, bite-sized pieces. So I'm going to probably go with 2 of these big chicken breasts, since it's just me and Bryant. I may, once I get them all chopped up, and I may look for a little bitty small one to add in here. We'll see. But 1.5 pounds of chicken should be plenty. That's what the actual recipe calls for, is 1.5 pounds. So these are pretty big chicken breasts, so I thought they would work fine. So I'm actually, with my clean hand, going to cut the camera off. Finish cutting this up. I'll bring you back once I have everything cleaned up and we're ready to go on to the next step. So we'll see you in just a minute. Before I get my workspace cleaned up, I am going to go ahead and get this started cooking so I can go ahead and clean my board and everything. I've got about 4 tablespoons of butter here, about half a stick. I'm just going to put that in a frying pan, turn my burner on. And we're just gonna get this chicken down in there. I'm gonna salt and pepper it. That's all the seasoning. I'm just gonna add a little bit to the chicken just because there's gonna be more seasoning in the casserole, but I do like to go ahead and just add a little bit of salt and pepper to my chicken while I got the chance. All right. All right, so I'm gonna let that just saute up for a while. I'll meet you back here in just a little bit after I get everything here cleaned up and out of the way and the next step ready. Well, here is asparagus that I have cut into about 1.5 to 2 inch pieces. And in this bowl, I've got about 1/2 cup of water. So I'm gonna put it in the microwave for about 3 minutes and just to get it nice and tender, steam it good, and then we'll drain the water off. Okay, so this is just about done. I was getting my dish out of the cabinet, my baking dish, and I'm gonna spray it really good and just go ahead and layer the chicken in the bottom of it. So I gotta get my spray. I'll be right back. So I am literally just transferring this chicken. I'm not really checking to be sure if it's completely done because we're gonna do in the oven. Speaking of the oven, let's go ahead and get it heating up. I always hide a bread pan in the oven, but sometimes forget it when I turn the oven on. So I did about 4 minutes on each side. I'm not really worried if it gets too browned, but that would add flavor if you got it good and browned. So I'm just layering this into the bottom of the casserole dish. All right, and so I have about 1/2 of an onion chopped up over here. I think the recipe called for 1/4 cup, but I think I have about 1/2 an onion. And I'm just gonna turn this up a little bit, or back on, and saute these onions. And if I was using raw mushrooms, I would put them in here as well. But I don't have raw, I have store-bought canned. So we'll break these up a little bit. I'm gonna drain the mushrooms and add them in here as well. And then we're gonna mix our interior gravy-like mix. We'll mix it up. I'm gonna drain the mushrooms. I'll be right back. So let's measure up this cream sauce that we're going in here with. I've got, I think it's 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. If you want to jot this down, sometimes I forget to put the recipe in the description, so be sure and always jot it down as I go. A tablespoon of Dijon mustard. And I love these little silicone spatulas and spoons to help get everything out. A tablespoon of lemon juice. A 1/2 cup of chicken broth. Three-fourths cup of heavy cream. And y'all, I scrape my heavy cream too. Let me check my onions real quick. I just want to give them a stir, and they're ready. I'm actually going to turn them off for just a minute. I've added the mushrooms in. There is a reason I used canned mushrooms. It's because I didn't read the recipe before I went. I just knew I needed mushrooms. And I placed an order and I just didn't look at the recipe. So I have no excuse because I was here. I could have looked at the recipe, but I didn't. And so I was thinking, if they cook raw, there's the chance they may not get good and soft. So I got canned. But you can definitely use raw because you actually saute them with the onions. And I just put the mushrooms in there right there with them. Okay, so we've got this mixed up really good. All right, so we're going to add in our seasoning. This is a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and half a teaspoon of thyme. So going in here. There's a little extra. All right. Now what I'm going to do is come over here and we're going to pour this directly in with the mushrooms and the onions, and we're going to simmer it on low until it thickens up quite a bit, which is about 8 to 10 minutes, somewhere around there. Or that's what the recipe says anyway. So we're going to go over here and get this gravy going. So while our cream mixture is thickening up, I'm going to take our asparagus. I didn't drain it because the bowl's hot, so I'm just going to take my tongs and I'm going to lay it right on top of the chicken. We're just going to reach in and I'll shake it off, and we're just going to add. Now, I'm a seasoning freak, and so it doesn't, all the seasoning it calls for is what went in that. So I seasoned the chicken, and that was not in the recipe. And I'm probably going to take just a second and sprinkle at least a little more salt right here, right now, on top of this asparagus and chicken in the dish, because I don't like anything that's bland. Now, if you are cutting back on salt, then by all means, you cut back on the salt. But I actually am needing salt in my diet, so I am actually going to add. All right, so there we go. All right, so now we're just waiting for the cream sauce to thicken up, and on to the next step at that point. So I have in my pan, in the baking dish here, I have the chicken and the asparagus. And I'm just going to pour this, the mushroom, onion, and cream sauce all over it. I'm not super worried about where it's going to land because I'm going to give it a stir right now in just a second. Okay, set that over there. We're going to add in about 1.25 cups of the Gouda cheese. At the beginning of the video, you saw me shredding. So we're going to add that Gouda in there. I've saved out some. All right, we're going to also add to this about 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. And if you shred your own, by all means, you go right ahead. I just seem to like the convenience of, is my mic on? I like the convenience of not, you know. Now I think some bacon, the way this smells, it smells like bacon would be absolutely delicious in this. Okay, so I've just kind of stirred it around now. So what I'm going to do now is take the Gouda. I kept out about 1/4 cup of each, maybe a little more, of the Parmesan, and I'm going on with the Parmesan first. I put it on top here, so let's use that. And then we'll start with the Gouda. So I've mixed in a bunch of Gouda, and now I'm cheese, Parmesan and Gouda. And so now I'm just going to sprinkle the rest on the top. Now I'm going to stick this in a 375 degree oven for about 30 minutes because the chicken's pretty much completely cooked, although I didn't test it because I know I'm going in for longer. So we're going to see how this turns out and if this is a good casserole for our suppers or not. I'm trying to find good casseroles that I've never done before that can become staples in our home. So, yeah, I'm going to get this in the oven. All right, everybody. Look at there. Is that not gorgeous and delicious? Mr. Bryant has already been dipping in it a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So he already knows if he likes it or not, but he's going to give it a taste test again.
When you come in the kitchen and it smells good, you got to be curious. So.
And I think he takes a bite first because he's scared.
I love mushrooms. I love asparagus. I love chicken. I'm guessing there's cream cheese in there. Sour cream. Something gives it a twang. What is it?
Probably the Gouda cheese.
Oh,
Smoked Gouda cheese.
This is a Gouda restaurant. A Gouda recipe.
A Gouda recipe.
Yeah. Oh, does that Gouda cheese?
Yep, there's Gouda and Parmesan in there, and then some heavy cream.
Restaurant good.
Would bacon be good in that?
Oh, over the top. Killer.
Yeah, I as I was just smelling it, the smell that it gave off when I was fixing it, I could just imagine bacon being in there. I just thought that would be so good. I didn't add it, but I think it would be really
Garnish
good.
with bacon and some little green onions.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm telling you, this is delicious. You got to make this right here.
All right, guys.
It's probably full of calories, but it's really good.
I've got a little blonde-headed boy here wanting to say hello.
What about your cheesy cauliflower?
Well, I didn't film that, but that's the side dish. Don't put your feet up there. Just
Side dish.
tell him hello.
I want another taste test.
Oh, he wants to do the
Here's
taste
another
test.
taste test right here.
No, give him chicken.
All right. Put him down. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. All right, go watch your TV. We'll be in there in a minute.
Cheesy cauliflower. It's good too.
All right, guys, there you have it. This was a restaurant good dish.
This is a win-win. This is a gotta make. Add this to your. You got a Sunday lunch or something. You got to carry a casserole to. You carry this right here.
All right, Judah's wanting his TV, so we're gonna go. I'll see you next time on The Farming Pastor's Wife. Remember, if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything. Bye, y'all.